Have you ever wondered, could the very vitamins you trust, your so-called health allies, be quietly making your body weaker day by day? I ask because I've been there. I took D3, K2, magnesium every day like clockwork, never questioned it, never imagined my body might have outgrown the need. No one ever said, "It's time to stop." Not because they meant harm, but because the supplement industry rarely talks about when to quit. If that sounds familiar, this video might just be the wake-up call you need. Not to alarm you, but to empower you. Because after 55, health isn't about taking more. It's about learning when less is wiser and how to listen to your own body. Today on The Elderly Way, we're diving deep into 3 common supplements: vitamin D3, magnesium, and K2. We'll explore not just the benefits, but also when they may no longer serve you. And I have one favor to ask. If this video opens your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your family, your neighbors, your church group. Because somewhere, someone is taking a pill right now simply because no one ever asked them, "Do you still need this?" One small share from you could protect someone else's health. And if you believe growing older means growing wiser, not just following trends, subscribe to The Elderly Way. We're not chasing youth here. We're embracing truth, living fully, aging honestly together. Before we go any further, there's something important you need to understand. It's called cyclical supplementation. In simple terms, it means you don't take vitamins or supplements non-stop forever. You take them for a while, then take a break, let your body adjust, and decide if you still need them later. Now, I know that might sound unnecessary or complicated. I used to think the same. If something's good for me, why not just keep taking it? But then at my 63-year-old wellness check, my longtime doctor said something that stayed with me. Your body isn't a machine, it's a living system. Sometimes it needs a pause to function better. That changed the way I saw things. Cyclical supplementation isn't some trendy health hack. It's a way to respect how your aging body truly works. Let me explain why. There are 3 key reasons why taking supplements non-stop can actually backfire. 1. Your body adjusts over time. It's more adaptive than we give it credit for. When you take the same thing every day, your body gets used to it and the effect starts to wear off. Think about coffee. At first, 1 cup in the morning does the trick, but months later, you need 2 or 3 and you still feel tired. Vitamins work in a similar way. Once your body gets used to the daily dose, it stops reacting as strongly, and you may no longer get the benefits you think you are. 2. Some supplements interfere with your natural hormone balance. Magnesium, for example, plays a role in melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. Too much for too long can throw that off. Vitamin D3. It influences testosterone levels, calcium absorption, and even mood. Taking it non-stop can confuse your body's internal signals, especially as we age. A friend of mine, Richard, he's 70, was taking D3 every day for over 2 years. Then he started having trouble sleeping, his muscles felt heavy, and his blood tests showed D3 levels were far too high. His doctor told him gently, "Sometimes even good things need a break." 3. Taking a break helps your body reset. Some folks experience side effects, like loose stools from magnesium or constipation from D3. Pausing for 2-4 weeks gives your body time to rebalance and recover. After the break, you can decide whether to continue, reduce the dose, or stop entirely. But at least now, your body gets a chance to speak up. So how do you know if it's time to take a break? If you've been taking vitamin D3, magnesium, or K2 for more than 3 months straight, this might be a good time to stop for a bit and just listen to your body. Watch how you sleep. Notice your digestion. Pay attention to your energy, your mood, your joints. That's your body's quiet way of saying, "I'm doing fine now, thank you." And if you've already been using one of these 3 supplements for more than 3 months, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a number 1 in the comments. Not for data, not for algorithms, just to remind each other that we're not alone in this journey. Vitamin K2, the quiet gatekeeper for your heart and bones. If you're like I was, you think taking calcium and vitamin D3 is enough to protect your bones and heart. This part might be the most important thing you'll hear today. There's a little-known vitamin that many doctors don't mention, but without it you could be slowly building up calcium in all the wrong places without realizing it. That vitamin is K2. I didn't hear about K2 from my doctor. It came up in a casual chat with an old friend from church. He was in his early 70s, still walking daily, eating well, and he said something that stuck with me. We take D3 to absorb calcium, but do we ever ask, where is that calcium going? That question sent me digging deeper. And I learned that K2 is like a silent gatekeeper in the body, guiding calcium to the right places, your bones and teeth, while keeping it out of your arteries, kidneys, and soft tissues where it could cause harm. Think of it like building a house. D3 brings in the bricks calcium. K2 is the engineer that makes sure the bricks go into the walls, not blocking the driveway. Here's what worried me. I thought I ate well, but it turns out K2 is incredibly rare in modern Western diets. Unless you're regularly eating fermented foods like natto, a strong-smelling Japanese soybean dish, you're probably not getting enough K2. Studies in Japan found that older adults who eat natto have stronger bones and less calcified arteries than people in the West of the same age. I tried natto once. Honestly, I couldn't finish the bite, but what I did take away was this. K2 isn't optional, it's quietly essential. A few things you may not know. K2 is not the same as K1. K1 from leafy greens helps with blood clotting. K2 does something deeper. It manages calcium, helping to prevent artery calcification. There's no strong evidence that K2 causes toxicity, even with long-term use at typical doses, 90-200 mcg/day. That's rare for a fat-soluble vitamin. Taking D3 without K2 may increase your risk of calcium going where it shouldn't. Many doctors now recommend, if you're on D3, always take K2 alongside it. Do you need to take K2 in cycles? Honestly, no. You can safely take K2 daily at proper doses. But I will say this. If you're on high-dose D3, say, over 5,000 IU a day, take a break from both D3 and K2 every few months. Think of it like seasonal rest for your system. Your body works better when it's not always on high alert. And one very important reminder, if you're taking blood thinners like warfarin or Calmidin, K2 can reduce their effectiveness. Please talk with your doctor and monitor your INR levels closely. Magnesium, the one supplement you should never stop after 55. There's something I wish I had learned sooner. Stopping magnesium, even for a few days, can quietly throw your whole system off. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying it because it happened to me. 2 years ago, I took a break from magnesium. Just 10 days. I thought, maybe it's good to give the body a rest. By the third night, I was waking up with sharp leg cramps like electrical jolts. By day 5, my sleep was broken, my nerves were jumpy, and I couldn't explain why. By day 7, I had heart palpitations and a strange feeling of anxiety that didn't make sense. I went to the doctor. He asked me one simple question. Did you stop taking your magnesium? That was all it took. I realized right then, magnesium isn't something to cycle. It's something your body depends on every single day. So what makes magnesium so essential? It's not a trendy supplement. It's a core mineral involved in over 300 biological functions in your body. It powers your cells to create energy, helps regulate your heartbeat, supports deep, restful sleep, balances your blood sugar, calms your nerves and muscles. Without magnesium, your body still runs. But like a clock that's lost its rhythm, everything slowly starts to fall out of sync. Here's what shocked me. More than 50% of people over 50 in the U.S. are magnesium deficient. Most don't know it. They think it's just getting older when they feel more tired than usual, anxious for no clear reason, waking up at 2-3 a.m., leg cramps at night, irregular heartbeat or mood swings. But for many, it's simply a magnesium shortage, and their bodies are whispering for help. Why are we so low on magnesium? I used to think, I eat pretty well, lots of veggies. But I learned the hard truth. Our soil is depleted after decades of industrial farming. Modern produce looks good but carries less magnesium than it used to. Processed foods are stripped of nutrients, and diets high in sugar, carbs, and caffeine cause us to excrete more magnesium than we take in. We live in an age of abundance, but we're starving for this one quiet mineral. Now, here's what makes magnesium different. It's water-soluble. That means your body can't store it. Whatever you don't use each day, you lose in your urine. So when you stop taking it, you're not just taking a break. You're slowly running on empty. That's why magnesium is the one supplement I tell people never to stop, as long as your kidneys are healthy. I've seen friends go through this too. One man I know, 68 years old, forgot to pack his magnesium during a 2-week vacation. By day 5, insomnia. By day 8, shaky hands, rapid heartbeat. By day 10, he ended up in the ER thinking it was a heart attack. All his tests came back normal except one. He was severely magnesium deficient. They gave him a supplement, and within 48 hours, he was back to normal. He told me something I'll never forget. At my age, magnesium isn't optional, it's maintenance. So how much magnesium should you take? If you eat a clean, magnesium-rich diet, lots of greens, seeds, avocados, low sugar, 200 mg/day may be enough. But for most people, especially with stress, poor sleep, or medications, 300-400 mg/day is ideal. The best form, magnesium glycinate. It's gentle, well-absorbed, and doesn't cause diarrhea like cheaper forms like magnesium oxide. Studies from Magnesium Research, 2013, and Nutrients, 2020 show for healthy kidneys, magnesium is one of the safest long-term supplements you can take. One final warning, but an important one. If you have kidney disease or impaired kidney function, you must speak with your doctor before taking magnesium, because in that case, your body may not be able to safely excrete the excess. For me, after age 60, there are 3 non-negotiables. Breathing deeply every morning, drinking enough water, and taking magnesium every single day like clockwork. Vitamin D3, the super vitamin that can quietly harm you if overused. Magnesium is easy to understand. Vitamin K2 is fairly safe, but vitamin D3, the so-called supervitamin, is a whole different story. If you're still watching at this point, go ahead and type the number 2 in the comments. I read every comment and they truly keep me going. Sometimes, one line from you is all it takes to make this work worth it. So now, let's talk about a vitamin that many people are silently overdosing on without even realizing it. Vitamin D3 isn't your average vitamin. In your body, it behaves more like a hormone. It affects thousands of genes and biological processes, including immune system regulation, bone strength and calcium absorption, heart function, even mood and emotional balance. Some studies even suggest that D3 may help reduce the risk of certain cancers. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem most people never hear about. D3 is fat-soluble, which means it accumulates in your body's fat tissue and liver. It doesn't just flush out like vitamin C. It stays, sometimes for weeks or even months. So if you've been taking 5,000 IU every single day for months, or if you live somewhere sunny and spend time outdoors, you may be building up more than your body needs. One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that vitamin D levels can remain elevated for weeks after you stop taking supplements, especially if you've been on them long term. Another study from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that it can take weeks or months for your body to eliminate half the stored D3. This is why cycling D3 is a smart strategy, especially if you're taking high doses, 5,000 IU or more. You spend time in direct sunlight several days a week, or your blood test shows that your 25-hydroxy-D level is consistently above 50 ng/ml. So what should you do? Pause for 2-4 weeks if your blood levels are high, or reduce to a maintenance dose of 1,000 IU daily, or try taking it every other day. Dr. Reinhold Vieth's 2001 study showed that alternate day dosing can maintain healthy vitamin D levels without daily intake. Here's something most people never think about. Everyone's vitamin D needs are different. They depend on factors like skin tone. Darker skin needs more. Location. Northern latitudes need more than tropical ones. Season. Winter requires higher intake than summer. Age. Older adults absorb less. Weight, diet, and health conditions. 5 signs your body is overloaded with vitamin D3. This next part is important because a lot of people think they are doing fine, when in reality they are slowly overdosing on D3. I used to think the more vitamins, the better. But your body doesn't work that way. It has its own rhythm, and when you go too far, it starts to whisper. If you don't listen, those whispers get louder. 1. Persistent fatigue. You started D3 to feel more energized, but instead you feel sluggish, tired, even foggy. You blame your job, your age, or stress. But what if your liver is struggling to process excess D3 every single day? 2. Digestive issues that come and go. Bloating, nausea, constipation, or diarrhea that doesn't make sense. People often assume it's food-related, but here's the reality. High-dose D3 causes constipation in many adults. Magnesium oxide, a cheap form, can cause diarrhea. If you're taking both, you might be trapped in a digestive tug-of-war. 3. Sleep that's no longer restful. You're taking magnesium to help you sleep, but you're still tossing and turning at 3 a.m. Why? Magnesium citrate in the morning can increase alertness. D3 at night can disrupt your natural sleep-wake cycle. 4. Irregular heartbeat, racing heart, sudden palpitations, skipped beats that feel like your chest is jumping. This isn't just stress, it could be magnesium or potassium imbalance, too much calcium in the blood from excess D3, or interactions with heart medications. Don't ignore this. Talk to your doctor and get your D3 levels checked. 5. That vague feeling of something's off. You're taking all the right supplements, but you feel flat anxious, or just not yourself. You think, maybe it's just aging, but maybe, just maybe, your body is saying, enough. Here's my honest advice. Stop all supplements for 1-2 weeks. Just listen to your body. Are you sleeping better? Are you less bloated? Is your mind quieter? You might be surprised. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your health is to stop adding more. Health after 55 isn't about how many supplements you take. It's about knowing when it's time to stop. By now, you've got the answers. Vitamin K2 safe to take long-term as long as you're not on blood thinners. Magnesium, something your body needs every single day, like electricity through a wire. Vitamin D3, powerful and necessary, but it can become harmful if you don't manage it wisely. But beyond all that, there's something more important. No pill can replace your ability to listen, to slow down and pay attention to the small things your body tries to tell you each day. Some people need more, some need less. But we all need to learn this one skill, knowing when enough is enough. So now I'd love to hear from you. Which supplement have you taken the longest? Have you ever felt those subtle warning signs and only now realized what they might have meant? Have you ever stopped a supplement and felt your body shift in a way you didn't expect? Please share in the comments, not for me, but for the next person reading, because that's what this channel, The Elderly Way, is really about. Not preaching, not pretending, just sharing what real life has taught us, one experience at a time. Supplements are like salt. A little bit can bring things to life. Too much, and even the best dish becomes hard to swallow. Your body doesn't need everything. It only needs the right thing at the right time. If this video helped you pause or rethink something you've been doing, please hit like and subscribe to The Elderly Way. Not because I want to be famous, but because maybe, just maybe, someone else out there needs this conversation too. And don't forget, I've added a list of important videos in the description below, covering how to use vitamin D3, K2, and magnesium safely and effectively for life after 55. Give them a watch, because your body deserves more than guesses and guesses. It deserves understanding. Thank you for staying with me until the end. There's no greater gift than your time and your attention. I'll see you in the next video.